The Worldwide Conservatorium of Music welcomes you to Lives of the Great Composers. Today, Mozart, presented by Professor Percy B Scholes.
Hello. Was Mozart a genius? Undoubtedly, but which one? Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart was born in Salzburg in 1756 to a musical family, and here the plot thickens. His father, Leopold, was a violinist and closet composer who, with the birth of his children, saw an opportunity. There was then, as there is now, a huge market for child prodigies, and Leopold determined to cash in. However, 3-year-old clavier virtuosi were so common you could swat them like flies, so Leopold spread the rumour that his child could also compose music. A story so ridiculous it has survived to this very day. Well, it's patently absurd. If you took a child off the street and put them at the piano, do you think they would be able to compose music? I did the experiment, and this is what the youngster played before the police arrived. I rest my case. In 1761 they set off for a concert tour with Wolfgang on clavier, his sister Nannerl on violin, and Leopold on the fiddle, composing pieces himself and passing them off as his sons. This racket became highly profitable, and Wolfgang became a superstar, sort of like Michael Jackson today, but darker-skinned. So it was no surprise when his behaviour became quite appalling. Upon being presented to the Empress Maria Theresa, the little toad jumped into her lap and became familiar. Well, the Empress appeared amused by this, so much so that she sent him to play with the young Marie Antoinette. What she later discovered them playing we do not know. However, we do know that she gave him some clothes and sent him packing. She was the first of many to take a lifelong dislike to him. By this time, it was too late for Leopold to stop composing in his son's name, and they even continued to lie in their letters. This, however, I believe to be their downfall, for Wolfgang was in one sentence talking about composing some work of great maturity and depth, and in the next sentence carrying on immature and childish dialogues of a highly scatological nature. If you have children in the room, now might be a good time to untie them and send them out. Good. I find it extraordinary that people can believe that the sort of mind which was preoccupied with their doo-doo running down somebody's chin could also be the mind that created some of the great works of all time. Leopold, on the other hand, exhibits the one unifying characteristic of most composers. He was boring. As Wolfgang grew older, he certainly never matured. The relationship between he and Leopold began to sour. A major confrontation was when Wolfgang wanted to marry Aloysia Weber. Leopold was appalled and wanted him to have nothing to do with that family. Wolfgang, being a dutiful son, forswore the girl and married her sister, Constanza. Aloysia was later to comment that she wouldn't have married him anyway, because, as she put it, he was such a little man. Is nothing sacred? Wolfgang and Constanza's marriage was a success, as they were perfectly matched, sharing one brain cell between them. So what was a caring father to do? While Wolfgang was performing, spending money, offending people, avoiding his creditors and playing billiards, when did he have time to write? No, it was Leopold burning the tallow. Their simmering resentment continued to grow, coming to a head, I believe, when Wolfgang became a Mason and refused to nominate his father. This perfectly explains why the magic flute so upset the brotherhood that they demanded Wolfgang hand back his apron. However, the inevitable occurred, and Leopold passed away. Thankfully, he had left several manuscripts which Wolfgang could present as his own, but he again squandered the money and had to accept his first real commission for a requiem. This so stressed Wolfgang that he took to his bed and died. This caused numerous stories to circulate, culminating in the deathbed confession by his professional rival, Salieri. Was Mozart murdered? I'm sure we've all been to concerts where we would say that was true. But as for Salieri doing it, definitely not. If Salieri had killed Wolfgang, he would have been far more popular. No, Mozart died from lack of talent. None of this affects the Mozart legacy. That is all-pervasive. Recently, when visiting my dear old friend Dr. Dean at his varsity, a large group of his students congregated outside his window. I was enchanted when they used that famous rhythmic phrase from Il Seraglio as they chanted, Dr. Dean is a wanker." He wasn't impressed, but I thought it went to show that Mozart is everywhere. He's an industry. Well, the last time I was in Salzburg, there was some sort of souvenir or knick-knack to tempt any Mozart lover. There was even a musical toilet roll holder, presumably for people who don't like Mozart. To end, though many will disagree with my hypothesis, I believe it can be proven. All that needs to be done is to dig up Wolfgang and Leopold, lay them side by side, and play them the video recording of a Peter Sellers production of one of their operas. The one who wrote it will be the first to roll over. I look forward to our next little chat. Till then...
This week's featured books are Castrati for Beginners and the B-flat major chromatic scale, Fact or Fiction. Order online, but note that download, hardcover, and softcover versions are not available. Our featured CD this week is Doris Day Does Wagner. You can find all these and more at the Worldwide Conservatorium of Music website. Just remember what all our students say about us, what a con. That's whatacon.com. This program produced by Gregory Gish.